Pastor Tim here, and it's good to have you with us. And one of my promises to you over the last several weeks is that one of the things we're going to do a deep dive on together is really helping us work through some of the fallout from this pandemic in terms of our relationships, our emotions, our souls, and so on. And not only do I want to bring some messages to you on the weekend, but I want you to connect with people who are a lot smarter than I am in these areas, who can bring us some insights that maybe I'm not even aware of. And I've connected with a very special friend through our pastoral care guy, Alan, and he introduced me to Pastor Catherine. And she comes to us all the way from Minnesota. And she's an ordained pastor. She also does spiritual consulting with people. And we're going to talk today about relationships. And she's going to talk, we're going to do a little theory. We're going to do some real practical stuff. So first of all, Reverend Doctor, are you a doctor? I'll just say Reverend. Reverend Catherine Duncan. Introduce yourself to us. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Well, thank you, Tim, for having me join you today. So I'm Catherine Duncan, and I am an integrative spiritual consultant based here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I have spent years in corporate healthcare. I was a chaplain for a number of years with our trauma hospital, HCMC. I was a hospice chaplain here in the Twin Cities for our health group, Fairview Hospice, and left that to start my own private practice called Learning to Live, where I help people emotionally, spiritually, and I work with people that are going through chronic illness, life transition, grief, loss, finding meaning, purpose. And so I'm an ordained minister. I'm a board certified chaplain, spiritual director, and trained in a range of healing modalities. I'm really interested in whole person healing, and that's my passion.
So you have this unique opportunity as a pastor to go into non-religious settings and talk to people. I know you're using biblical principles, pastoral principles, maybe can't always use that language, but it's such a great opportunity for a pastor to be able to go into the marketplace and share spiritual insights with people. And how has that transition worked for you? You feeling good about it? Has it been a transition, or did it come pretty naturally for you?
Yeah, it has unfolded very naturally and organically. I left my last position was as a hospice chaplain, which was great. But I just felt this inkling, this nudging in my being to work not just with people at the end of life, but with people of all ages, and really moving and transitioning to people that are just, how are you fully alive right now? And it was here I was helping people at end of life, leaving as they were passing, saying goodbye to family, and the transition of dying to now, like, I'm with people becoming fully alive in this moment. So I connected with this lovely doctor here in the Twin Cities, Dr. Greg Plotnikoff, Minnesota Personalized Medicine. So we work together, and he works with people that have chronic health conditions. I also have worked with Dr. Henry Emmons here in the Twin Cities, Partners in Resilience, and then just word of mouth. So it's organically unfolded very well, and it really matches just my passion in life and helping people come into their body, come into their calling, their purpose, how to be just really fully alive here and now, and it really entails my work.
Well, it's so good to have you, and we're going to talk about one of the really pressing things in people's lives right now, and that's their relationships. And we have been through a very, very tough 15, 16 months. It's taken a toll on relationships in some ways. So let's just start with kind of a broad question. You go where you want. What are some things that we need to know about when it comes to living in these kinds of days, when it comes to relationships? And what are some insights you can give us about how to keep these relationships strong when things are uncertain, or even put them back together if they've been frayed?
When I think about relationships, the first thing that comes to mind, I share a lot with my clients in my private practice. First, I think about, the two biological imperatives in life. And that is safety and connection is so important for good health and well-being and building your strength, inner strength, resiliency. And, when I say just a comment about safety, we've just lived in a really challenging last year. And as things are shifting, are opening up, still being mindful for everyone hearing this, what is safety for you, and honoring that is really important. But connections, having authentic connections. The latest research on relationships is, if you have one or two authentic friends that you can really connect with, people that have a sense of community, have just even one or two authentic friends, live longer. They are healthier. It's so important for health and well-being. And I would say in this last year, gosh, how challenging it's been. All of us living in this pandemic, so much isolation. Granted, now things are shifting and opening up, but, really tuning in, what is life-giving? What feeds my heart and soul? If it's, colleagues, family, friends, and nurturing that is really important.
Do you think that there is that social media, for example, can be helpful for relationships when people are far apart? Zoom meetings, what impact has that had on us, positively and negatively, as we've been in lockdown?
I would say, I think about my life, my colleagues, friends, so many of us have adapted this last year on Zoom, webinars, et cetera. I think it's been a great way we've adapted quickly to still connect. And I still feel like, even though I'm not seeing faces right now talking to you, you can still really connect on Zoom and on webinars. As far as social media, boy, that's really tricky because so much of life now is social media. What I share with my clients is I think less is more. I just think about news. I'm a person that, I want to know what's going on. I want to see headlines. I get my news. I choose mindfully to get them on apps on my phone. I get the headlines. If it's New York Times, Wall Street Journal, the Star Tribune here in Minneapolis. So I get some headlines, what's happening, but there's a lot of fear and negativity, a lot of hard, tough energy out in the news, and you can just take all that in. So I always recommend to my clients to just less is more. Notice if news is causing unrest within you. And so similarly, social media, gosh, wow, you can get so consumed if you're on Facebook or Instagram or, LinkedIn, all the different social media. I invest in some of this for my company because I have my company pages on some of these social media, but I guess my overall motto is I think less is more. I think our time, we can get just zapped our time by being on social media, and it can really be not that rich and fulfilling versus one-on-one, having a phone call, a Zoom call, seeing someone in person. That is real connecting, real heartfelt connecting. And that's what I think is most important in relationships.
Yeah. So let's pick up on that. What are some things that we can be doing to cultivate healthier relationships, or to strengthen those relationships that maybe have been strained these last couple months?
I think about relationships, and what comes to mind is, first and foremost, what's most important is everything starts with ourselves, loving ourselves. We can't give to another until we can't really truly love another till we fully love ourselves. We can't really give to other people if we're depleted, if we feel less than. So I think all relationships start first with ourselves, nurturing that deep relationship within ourselves, love for ourselves. I come back to the word self-compassion. There's a author. She's passed away a couple years ago. Her name is Louise Hay. I'm a big reader. I have loved her work over the years. And, she'll say you can't begin to really fully be in a relationship and love someone till you love yourself. So, I think about building self-compassion. How do you care for yourself so that you can really be there and be a good friend to someone? I think self-compassion is really important.
It's really interesting because, of course, Jesus said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And so it really is hard to love other people if you don't love yourself well. And I remember reading not too long ago, somebody using the flying in an airplane as an example of that, where the first thing you do if there's an emergency is you put the mask on yourself before you can put the mask on your kids. And it's not an act of selfishness. It's an act of self-care in order so you can put full attention then into the other person. I know we're going to talk here about self-care in a moment, but as a person of faith, as a pastor, how for you, when you're talking to people about their spiritual lives or faith lives, whatever language your audience is using, how does that feed into self-compassion and into relationships?
Mm-hmm. Well, as an ordained minister, my faith in God, I think the biggest message in graduate school, in getting a master's in divinity and theology and all my studies and takeaway of everything I've learned, the message is love. And Jesus is a message of love of God, love of one another. I think it all comes down to truly love. I mean, I'll tell you, years of being a chaplain in a trauma hospital, end of life, that was the number one theme I heard from people before they died. That's what they wanted, love. They wanted love themselves, those closest to them. So it's so important. Can you find that deep love and that oneness, that oneness with the divine, the universe? I'm open. I'm very into inclusivity and being ecumenical with my language. For me, I use the word God, but that oneness of that divine within us, that deep love and living from there is so important. So there's a lot of, there's authors and people out there that, for example, Kristen Neff, she's known in the United States on how do you love yourself? She talks about self-compassion. I think her definition is excellent. I share that a lot with people I work with. It includes being loving and kind to yourself versus critical. When you're critical, it releases cortisol and hormone in your body. So can you be loving and kind to yourself? When we make mistakes, she uses the term common humanity when we make mistakes. Can you be loving and kind and get the support versus isolating yourself? And then mindfulness, like how do you hold all of life, the good, the bad? And you know what? It takes courage, how to really be and live fully in the moment. And when we love ourselves, what's so amazing, the current research, Kelly McGonigal, she's on staff at Stanford. She talks about when you have self-compassion, when you live from a place of really deeply loving yourself, you live longer, you have better social connections, you're less anxious, you're less depressed. So, when in my work, I meet with people on their path. I don't have an agenda, but I help them find the deep healing within themselves. And it starts with coming into their heart and soul and listening.
It's so fascinating because usually when we think about relationships, we think about the 5 steps to putting the relationship together. And, you need to be nicer to your spouse or more forgiving. And all of that is true. But what I hear you saying is all of that has to come from self-awareness and self-love. And again, it's really hard to love other people unless you love yourself. So you've given us a couple little things, being kind to ourselves and others. What are some other things that you would share with us about learning to love ourselves, I would say, and you would say, as God loves us?
Mm-hmm. I think being first mindful of, I always talk with people about awareness is the first step of all healing. Just can you tune in to where you are? It's being so human, just going back to that, being kind and loving to yourself, tuning in and noting, I'm really being negative, I'm being critical, I'm being judgmental. Just to have the awareness, because we can step back and be the witness. We can watch our thoughts, our feelings. We actually, just by our thought alone, turn on the stress response, can release cortisol hormones in our bodies by thought alone. So, I talk with people about, can you notice where you are? Are you replaying, a worry, a fear, a negative thought pattern? And if so, can you notice it? Say it out loud. Oh, there I go. I keep thinking that, or I keep feeling that. Because when you do that, you're strengthening those negative neural connections in your brain. Just come back in your body, your heart, a prayer, be with me, God, help me. Just come back into this moment and reframe it to a positive. I mean, there's actually a term for this called neuroplasticity. And I just weave in faith with this. It's just like we can rewire our brain. I mean, if you are on this negative loop, this negative path, you can change that. But you have to be aware of where you're at, coming back into the present moment, and then choosing a positive thought, a positive memory to create those positive, paths in your brain. But also, I would say number one is prayer. I mean, just even asking, help me, God. I work with a lot of people, and a lot of people are even say, gosh, I don't know if I can pray for myself, or,
Yeah.
And, the Bible says, God knows our hearts and minds before words even spoken, but we're about to bring all of ourselves into the relationship. And I'm like, yes, you can pray for yourself. And I think prayer can just be, help me, give me your wisdom, your guidance, fill me with your love, your light, your peace. That's prayer.
I love this brain stuff. And those who attend our church know I love to weave brain stuff in all the time, because I think the brain and spirit, we're created that way. When I look, and I may throw you a little curveball here, but you're good. You can handle it. When we look at what's been happening, especially this last year, as we have amped up on social media, for example, it's just vitriol after vitriol on the internet, and we're attacking this person and that person. And I know a lot of times we do that to make ourselves feel better. Because if someone disagrees with me, well, then they've got to be stupid or whatever. And I feel better once I just sort of say they're stupid and whatever language I use. How do we, especially in a society right now that's built so much on anger and rage and all of these different things in the way that we interact on social media, how do we let go of that and get back into being kind to ourselves so we can be kind to others?
Great question. I would start with, it's a choice we make every day, all day long, choosing love, choosing kindness, choosing not to, it's one thing, of course, to have, unrest, or you're upset. Sure, in Minneapolis, we've had so much going on here that's been upsetting. Even the shootings, everything that's happening has been minutes from our house. So we've heard a lot. But it's a choice. It's a choice to embrace love every day. And, how do you do that? It's really important. In fact, so I'm also a blog writer. If you're curious, you can go to learningtolive.org. And my blog that I'm publishing tomorrow is on this topic. And it's really, can you step back when something happens? If it's personal, where you feel like someone doesn't see you or attacks you, or you see it online, can you step back and just choose love, breathe into that, your heart, your center, what's grounding for you to bring you back into the present moment? All of life happens in the present moment, not in the past or the future where we're just in our thoughts. So keep choosing this moment and choosing to take in what's life-giving, take in the good. And, if something happens to you that's really challenging, and this is actually what my blog is on, it's stepping back and noticing, like if you get triggered, if you have unrest, noticing, can you be curious? What's happening within me? Why did I get triggered? Why am I upset? And that's what my blog I'm writing that I'm publishing tomorrow is on. it's like I had a situation where someone treated me, I thought, crazy poorly, and it triggered me. And I really, the next day, noticed it, and I sat with it, and I felt it. I like, emotions aren't permanent. I sat with the feelings. They started to dissipate. I saw the connection. I got, oh, there's a thread there to my childhood. That's why I got triggered. I let the feelings move through me. And then a lot, like there was honestly this surfacing of love, of compassion for what happened and for this person I couldn't see before. And, that coupled with really getting that people's behaviors, if they're really, negative, off-putting, challenging, and there's a lot out there, it's not about you ever. It's about them, and it's about their life and their process to realize, this isn't personal, and just, from a spiritual standpoint, I do a lot teaching people, can you, stay in the present, that oneness with the divine from your heart and love, live from there, which is easier said than done sometimes. But then can you just send that person who's so challenged, send them love, visualize love and light flooding their body, ask God to help them, and just not taking things personal, because other people's unrest and behavior, honestly, it's never about us. It's always about what's happening with that person. So unplugging, detaching, and wishing well, so.
That is so good. So I what I heard was, be curious. Why am I feeling this way? Mm-hmm. I love that. Be curious. And then you said it, but I'll tease it out a little bit from my perspective. It's really hard to stay angry at someone when you are praying for their well-being. Right. Now, if I'm praying that God gets even with them, that's different. But when I'm praying for their well-being, it's really hard to stay angry. And this is for another time, but there are times when we do need to be angry at the hurt that's been done to us. And that's not what we're talking about here. So I love this emphasis on really learning to love ourselves. And I know that you want to get it practical. So give us a couple things that we can do to begin to practice what you're talking about.
Okay, great. So I do a lot in my practice and have over many years, even as a chaplain, I did this, but teaching people a breath exercise, meditation, body movement, a whole range of things. I'm like, everyone hearing this, it might be different for you. You might resonate with a breath exercise, a meditation, a body movement, but I just want to introduce a couple today as takeaways of helping to bring yourself more into your body, into your heart center, to feel that ease and peace. So the first I'd love if you're willing to try, my favorite breath exercise. I do a lot of teaching breath exercise. There's a lot of different ways to do breath exercises, just focusing on your breath, or you could do square breathing or alternate nostril breathing. So what I want to share with you is a breath exercise where I will lead you in it for it's about a minute. I'm going to have you on your in-breath, breathing in a love kind of warmth coming through your body, all the way through your body, and then breathing out any fear, any unrest. So if you're willing to try it, I will lead you in this for the next minute or so. And I have these little bells I can ring at the end. Cool. So
are you going to tell us how we're supposed to sit, what we do with our eyes?
Yeah, I'm on it. Yep, okay, I'll do that.
Perfect. All right, we're ready to go. But We're not going to watch me do it. We're just going to watch you do it.
Okay. Yeah, you can do it too, though.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Okay, so I would just invite you, if you're willing to try this with me, I would invite you might want to close your eyes so you're not distracted. If you're sitting down, feel the weight of your body being supported by the chair, or if you're standing by the floor, letting your body just soften and relax. Then focusing on your breath, your in-breath, your out-breath. Breathing in and breathing out. And on your breath in, I want you to imagine love, this warmth feeling coming through the top of your head, through your neck, your shoulders, your chest, your abdomen, your hips, your legs, your knees, and then out through your feet, breathing out any fear, any unrest. So on the in-breath, breathing in love. On the out-breath, breathing out any fear, any unrest. And if your mind wanders, it's okay. Just come back. Breathing in love. Breathing out any fear. And we will begin for a minute or a little over a minute. I'll let you know when we're up. So breathing in love. Breathing out any fear. And we will begin. So that was just a little over a minute, and, breathing in the love of God, the divine, breathing out fear. You could breathe in peace, breathe out stress. It's one of my favorite go-tos if like in the middle of the night, you wake up and you're just feeling unrest, or during the day, just to calm. It just automatically starts to calm your body, lower your blood pressure, your heart rate, cortisol levels, very soothing.
Yeah, that was great. I didn't get my meditation in today, so that was really good. One of the things that I learned when as a guy who has anxiety disorder, and the importance of meditation, of course, all the science behind it, is that it's really hard to be anxious or nervous or stressed when you're breathing deeply and focusing on your breath. And if you're really stressed, it takes a little while to get down, right? But that's what the breath does. It's just this gift God's given to us to calm us down. So, all right. And I know you've got something else for us.
Yeah. And so next I want to share with you about a 5-6 minute guided meditation, self-love guided meditation, and just 5 minutes of meditation. It elicits what's called a relaxation response. It lowers your blood pressure, your heart rate, your cortisol level. So very, very healing. So if you're willing to try this, I would love to lead you in a short guided meditation. So again, I would invite you to, if you're sitting, standing, just be comfortable. You might want to close your eyes so you're not distracted, and we will begin. So breathing in, I just invite you to notice. You might put your hand on your lower belly area and notice on your breath in how your belly expands on the in-breath and recedes on the out-breath. Become aware of any tension in your body and just breathe into that area for a moment. Feel the weight of your body being held by the ground, the floor, a chair perhaps. Letting your body just soften and relax. Feel your breath coming into your body. And on your exhale, releasing any tension you may be holding. And if your mind wanders, that's okay. Just come back to your breath. Now visualize a golden light coming into your heart area. This light is filling your entire heart. See this golden light getting bigger and brighter. Feel your heart soften and expand. You feel warmth and love in your heart. Now visualize the sun and see rays of sunlight streaming into your heart. Feel this unconditional love energy. This light fills your chest and expands throughout your whole body. Breathing in and breathing out. This light is healing and bathing your body as it moves through you. And whatever you need to let go of, physical, emotional, spiritual, see it being released out of your body like gray smoke, leaving your body now. Letting go of any tension, stress, seeing gray smoke drifting off. Your body is being bathed in this golden light within and all around you. Surrender into this light and love. Feel this deep love in your heart and in your whole body, taking it in as you breathe in and breathe out. You are love. Rest in this love for the next couple minutes. And now bring your awareness back to the present moment, allowing your breathing to deepen. Bring yourself back slowly and comfortably. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. So that was about 5-6 minutes.
Yeah.
Just that will calm your heart, your body, your mind, and just bring some more ease and peace, into your body.
Fantastic. And of course, people can go back now and just go to that point in the Zoom interview every day and just use that if they need something. It's there for you.
And I have one more. Can I share one more?
Sure, of course.
This is one more I'll share. This is a self-soothing exercise. I've been doing this for years, and then, that's what it's called. So you just put your hands over your heart area and breathe. Our body always responds to physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
And you just let yourself relax and breathe. And you can add a prayer. Be with me, God. Give me your peace. And just breathe and feel the peace of God coming into your heart. So this is actually called a self-soothing exercise. It's something I do, about every day, even at night. You go all day and then just like to calm your body, or even in the middle of the day, if you're feeling stressed or anxious, to just stop and for a minute breathe and put your hands on your heart area and say a prayer, be with me, God.
Oh.
Really calming.
It seems almost primal.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
This need we have to be wrapped up. We always wrap up babies really close. And, sometimes therapists will say, give yourself a self hug.
Yeah. Well, that's another one. And I do this too, where you can just you need comfort, just holding your arms and just breathe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Well, this has been so helpful, and it's really been an excellent follow-up to the message that I did, especially on our emotions and relationships.
Right.
And so people can certainly go back and catch those as well. And really, really appreciate this and your willingness to be with us and to share your insights with us. So if people want to know more about you, what's your website?
So my website is learningtolive.org, O-R-G. I have a lot on there. I have guided meditations and I'm a blog writer, so you can learn a lot. And then I have a YouTube channel, which is Learning to Live Mind, Body, Spirit Teachings. And I have 10 plus guided meditations. Love to have you check it out.
Excellent. I think that's really helpful for people. I really tried hard to just do my own thing, sitting there and breathing, but I finally had to buy an app. To help me.
And there's some good apps that you can get.
Some great apps. So,
yeah,
Catherine, it has been such a pleasure to have you with us. This is such good stuff, and I know it's helpful for our folks. And blessings on your ministry. Such an important work that you're doing, and thank you so very, very much.
Yeah, thank you. Blessings to all of you. God bless you.